Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to my channel. I'll be discussing again how to use ChatGPT to do Midjourney prompts. Um, and what I'm doing here, this is one of my favorite ideas that I've worked on, which is I wrote a blog post. I have a number of blog posts that feature certain cities uh, or locations which let's see, this was, I want to say September. Okay, here we are. Um, so I'm going to look for some city, Socotra. Let's see, more posts. Piedmont, Italy. All right, this should work. Okay, or Milan. That would have been even. Okay, this will work fine. Okay, so let me try the Milan one. I think that might even be better. Let's see. I thought I saw Milan. Okay, so I got an idea from um, someone who had put together a list of words for Morocco. These are the words. Me, let me make the. I'm going to make the font size larger, make it easier to read. Okay, so um, I saw this on a YouTube video where they used these different words for Morocco. They did this without ChatGPT, but I thought this would be cool to adapt to ChatGPT. So they put together these words descriptive of Morocco and made prompts based on them. And so what I did for ChatGPT was to ask it to do the same thing um, and for different cities. And the one that I just brought up here is uh, Milan. And so it came up with a number of words, and here's the words that it used. And then based on these words, it created Midjourney prompts. And here's a cool way of looking at the images. If you're on, this is for Blogspot. I don't know if it would work for other types of blogging software, but for Blogspot, what you can do is you can go to the read more. You can just click on an image. Let me go back a second. So just I want to show that. So okay, so here's the read more. So you pull up the one that you want, the blog that you want. You click on the read more, and then you click on an image, and it will create a kind of slideshow here. I'm going to turn off the camera that has me in it. So I turn that off. Is that off? There we go. All right, because I don't want me to get in the way. All right, so you get this slideshow set up, and then you can just click your way through the different prompts. So these are all prompts that are featuring Milan, and it uses a keyword. And um, originally, I gave it instructions on how to do these prompts. But once you have done it once, then you can piggyback on that. And so you can see that there's a nice collection of different sorts of prompts here. Um, we've got uh, here we've got like cafe or bar scenes, um, a still life. Here we've got looks like kind of a golf course is sort of what it reminds me of. This is a design, so I have some design prompts in here, And here there's an old style painting, it looks like, of a canal. Here's a photograph type picture. And here you have the antipasta type thing, fashion design type picture. And you can see there's different types of pictures. And so what I did for the current session is I'm working on the daily theme for Midjourney. So Midjourney has it has different channels. One of the channels is daily theme, and the daily theme is Etruscan. So what I did was I took this um, blog that I had here, which is on Milan, and I just copied and pasted the entire blog. So I went inside the blog, I copied and pasted it. I went to ChatGPT and I said, here are 10 words associated with Morocco, because that was the original idea. And I said, what I'd like you to do is to use these 10 words and come up with 10 similar words, except they should have the word Etruscan in it, because that's the word for the daily theme. And I had this blog post of Milan, and I said, use the prompts from, follow the structure that I had from Milan. And this is something that ChatGPT is really good at, is that once you have a pattern that it can extrapolate from, it can make, kind of clones of that. You can tell it like what rules you want it to follow. And so I wanted it to come up with something similar to what I just showed here with this slideshow. And so I just started doing this. I did a couple of them. And um, so this is its response. It said, for a visual journey inspired by the Etruscans, akin to the Moroccan themes, we'd select words that are emblematic of Etruscan culture, art, and architecture. Here are 10 Etruscan associated words. So here's the 10 words, and then it uses each of the words to construct prompts. And I like Mark Adamus. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. His photographs, I think they come up with really nice images when you give them to Midjourney. So I've used him for photographs, and then it's got some other styles that he used, Courbet, Adamus again, and here we've got Federico Fellini, and there's different styles of things that it did. And so I started working on these prompts, and I'll show you the ones that it's come up with so far. So here is the first one. And this is, here you can see the images. And I'll pick one to upscale. I think I'll go with number 3. And you can see this is a Mark Adamus style photograph. And it basically took the one that I'd done before from Milan and used that to abstract from. So here's the image that we have for that. That's a pretty picture. And I think I've done 3 of these. So here's a second one right here. So this one was Jean-Léon Gérôme, and he used the word buquero as the key word and created a prompt based on that word using this style. And here we kind of like number 2, so I'll go with number 2 here. And it changed just as we're speaking right now, it changed the theme from Etruscan to time-lapse motion blur. So I won't be able to do any more of these. I'll just have to stick with the 3 that I did. So here's the third one. let's see what these look like. So it should let me upscale it, I think, because I already did it. This is pretty cool, isn't it? I don't know what that is. That's pretty cool too. What's it say? It says a Courbet style oil painting. Well, this doesn't look anything to me like Courbet, but it's a really cool style. It says sarcophagy, um, a detailed narrative scenes carved into stone. I don't know anything about this style, but I think these two are quite cool. So I'll go ahead and upscale these two. Okay, I'm too late because it says you have to use the, um, it just changes as I was doing this video. It says you have to use the new daily theme word, so I won't be able to upscale that, which is too bad. Um, yeah, I wonder, there might be some other way of doing this, but anyway, this will work for the video because what I wanted to show was that I have a blog post that I already did, and basically, like I said, I just took the blog post. Actually, I should have it here, and um, no, this is September. I think the one I did was uh, actually I'll go ahead and pretty sure it was July. So if you want to see it, you can just put in what I've typed here, my name, Tom Ewall, and the july.blogspot.com. And I did a number of these, I call them visual journeys, or it came up with the titles, ChatGPT did. But these are visual journeys using the same technique. And what I wanted to show is that you can simply, let me go to July. Um, you can simply take, uh, I, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't July, it was September. All right. So let me change it. Well, you're probably smart enough to figure this out. I'll change this to September. Maybe I'll try to. September. Okay, so here is the ones for September. And do I have September here? Let me find September. Here's July. Okay, I'll just change this to September. Here's September. All right. And then for September, I did a number of these where well, I guess I can just search for visual or just journey probably. Journey. All right. So I did a number of these. That came up with more than I expected. Let me try visual journey. Okay, visual journey. All right. And so I did a number of these styles that I really enjoyed a lot. Where maybe I'll show a few of these. I think they're quite nice. And basically, the way that I did these was I just did the same thing I just showed you, where like Istanbul. So I'll click on read more. And then here's the words that he used: Ottoman motifs, Islamic calligraphy, Hagia Sophia, Bosphorus views, Turkish ceramic. Isn't this cool? I mean, you'd have to be a genius to be able to come up with a list of words like this. But for ChatGPT, it's nothing. So I came up with these uh, 10 collections of words to use as thematic for Istanbul. And I'll just click on the image, and then I get the slideshow. And then here you get a collection of these, different images. This is a whirling dervish, and here's a bazaar, and that's a mosque. This one's not showing for some reason. Here's a still life, and you've got a trolley car, and you got a black and white. So you can see there's a wide variety of images that it did. And let's see if I can find another one. More posts. Here we got New York City. So I'll click on read more. Click on an image. Oh, let me see it. Well, I'll go back to it to see what the words it used were. But you can see your neighborhood. This is a pretty nice one. This one, if I remember right, I think it did in the style of Spike Lee, a movie by Spike Lee. Then here you got uh, typical. This reminds me. So I lived in New York City for a while, and it's very expensive there. So the apartment I lived in had like 550 square feet, and it cost several $1,000s. And you'll see these like what do they call them? The TV shows. I forgot the name of them, but the sitcoms, that's what they're called. And you'll have people living in apartments like these. It would probably be today like $20,000 a month or something like that. But this would be like a real nice apartment here. So this is like a fashion design type thing. And here you've got Times Square, uh, and then the Brooklyn Bridge, and then a taxi close up. And here's Central Park with it looks like a watercolor. And this is a Phantom of the Opera type of in your face kind of neon type thing. I think this might be Radio City Music Hall, and then well, of course, the Statue of Liberty here. So it'll use this same kind of format to come up with these prompts where it's uh, picked a number of these words: skyscrapers, brownstones, graffiti, Art Deco, neon signs, Manhattan skyline, yellow cabs, Central Park subway, and fire escapes. And so I used that same one for the Morocco one to start with, and I just give it um, the same instructions, which I think it's really cool. Just you have the location that you're interested in, ask it to come up with 10 iconic words, which could be one or two words, and then build the prompts based on those words. And like I said, for the first one, I was very careful in the way that I described the prompts. But once I had one blog post done, I can just copy and paste. When you copy and paste it, it won't bring in the images, at least for Blogspot. So I would just have the 10 prompts, and it's smart enough to figure out, um, that these are like here you can see it says descriptors and subject, mood, time of day. So this was an elaborate mechanism I had for it to build the prompts. But once I have them set up, it doesn't need to know that. You can just give it prompts that you've done, and it's smart enough to figure out how to abstract those prompts and extrapolate them and adapt them to the new type of image, or sorry, new type of location that you're doing. And unfortunately, just as I was doing this video, it switched from Etruscan to a different theme. So I won't be able to adapt that. But I mean, I could do it on this new one. What's this new one? It's time lapse motion blur. Right. All right. Let's give this a try. This might be kind of fun. So what I'll do here is I'll go to the ChatGPT session. All right. And I'll say uh, the new daily theme is, let's see, let's come here. What is it? It's time lapse motion blur. All right. So let me copy and paste this just to make sure I don't have a typo. Uh, let's see, I need to get down far enough to capture it. Here we are, time lapse motion blur. All right, here we are. Time lapse motion blur. All right, so I'll go to uh, type this in. All right. Can you think of a way to adapt this same methodology? Okay, 10 keywords based on a theme, and using the prompts given as a template. Okay. For this new theme. Okay. Please give me 3 ideas. All right, let's see what it comes up with. This is riveting television. Okay. So for the theme, time lapse motion blur, we would choose words that evoke the dynamic and a transient nature of time and motion. Here are 10 words related to this theme. I was curious to see how it would go about this because there was different ways I might have done this. Because another way would have been, for example, to choose like a location that would work well with time lapse, whatever the words were, time lapse motion blur, and then pattern after the location. But it chose to do it based on the words I gave it, has the 10 words, and it's given me 3 different ways of going about it. So acceleration in the cityscape, vortex in the natural world, swirl of the starry light. And it gave me 3 ideas, and these are all excellent ideas. Um, yeah, this technology is just amazing. Maybe I'll try all 3. Let's see. Let's do the first one. Let's try idea number 1. Please do 3 Midjourney prompts. All right, let's see what it comes up with. Real curious to see what it comes up with. Okay. So now here in this this session, I did not explain to you what descriptors are. So descriptors are they're basically things that you can add to an image to give it some more interest, like a time of day or environment or perspective or lighting or uh, things like that. And the idea behind this way of crafting prompts is that Midjourney has a limited context window. And so my thought was to give it about 6 chunks of information, where one thing would be an artist to pattern after, another would be uh, like a medium, uh, or an art style, and then 3 things like the things that I mentioned: time of day or season or color palette or perspective. Um, the, that could be the environment, the background, the lighting. Those are some of the ideas. Um, and I didn't explain any of this to it, but since I had it in the example that it was extrapolating from, it was able to make things that were like that. Now, these don't seem to have any artist that it's using, but they look like good prompts from what I'm seeing. So let me go ahead and try this and see how this turns out. So, did it remember? So I need to remind it that it has to use the words. So for the daily theme prompts, um, you need to use the words of the daily theme, which is, in this case, oops, I already got the prompt in there. let's see, let me go up here. It's this, which is in this case, this. Please tweak the prompts you just did, keeping the same idea. But with these words. Okay, so it'll do that. And then I'm going to change. I have a suffix that I use, which is I'm setting the aspect ratio, the stylization, and the version, and then the other stuff is just a way for me to track the batch of images that I'm doing. Okay, and I find this worked quite well. So I won't use. It's using the AR69 because that's what I had in the previous ones. But I'm just going to grab this part of the prompt, and then I'll use the suffix that I set up to make the prompt in Midjourney. And I found that that works quite well, is to not have the ChatGPT worry about the dash parameters. But it's smart enough to handle that if you want to do it that way. But I just split it up to where I just have it do the prompt itself. And then I'll use the, I don't see that it grabbed that. The one, did it not like it? Well, I can't find it now. So there must be something you didn't like about it because it's not coming up here. So I was hoping I could just get to the present by upscaling and then clicking on it. But here, if there's something wrong with this, I need to see the error message. Yeah, this looks fine. I don't know why it didn't come up with that the first time that I did that. But for some reason it didn't, but now it is. So I'll watch this. It's coming up. So I probably won't be able to do too many of these because it's probably not that interesting to watch it creating the prompts. But maybe I can do a few of these. But I did what I wanted to show the technique of how you can use ChatGPT. That's something I wanted to do in these videos. Is just to show um, this basic idea, which is that it's really good at extrapolation. And so you can see that on the fly that I was able to adapt what we were doing before. And I didn't know how it would adapt it, but it came up with its way of doing what I asked it to do. And you can see that this is it's quite a nice prompt, and it's a nice image. So I'm not going to go through and uh, you know have the Midjourney go through these prompts like this, but you can see how it came up with. I mean, I liked it came up with 3 different ideas, and I'll go ahead and explore these and just have it do the prompts for each of the ideas, and uh, you can see how you can use this approach, which to explain the approach would be you need to have some way of coming up with good Midjourney prompts. And there's a number of different ways of doing that. I think maybe I'll have a video to talk about how to do that. Um, But once you have a way of being able to come up with effective Midjourney prompts, and you know how to do that. Once you have that, then you can just show ChatGPT the prompts. You don't have to tell it how to do that. You can just use the prompts that you have as examples, and then just say, "We'll do more like these." And you can see that the approach that I used here was I used this 10-word approach, which I thought was a great idea. Like I said, I saw this on YouTube, and it was just like you come up with 10 words that are iconic for uh, whatever location. That's how it started with, like Morocco was the first one. And it comes up with this nice variety of prompts. So you're combining two things. One would be instructions about how to make the Midjourney prompts. And then the other is you have these key words that it'll use to serve as the subject for the prompts that it's doing. And then for the visual journeys that I did, I had a collection of photographs, like the Mark Adamus photographs that I really liked a lot, and then different styles. I had art in there, and then I also had design prompts. So I would use like interior designs that were nice, or you could have architecture as a part of it. You could have fashion designs. Design prompts, I think, are work out really nice. And so you get a collection of a dozen or so. I use 10 different styles. And then you have this collection, and then you just give it to ChatGPT and you say, okay, I've got a new location that I want, I want you to do. You come up with 10 iconic words for this location and use these prompts, these different styles of prompts that I'm using, where I've got photographs and I've got the design and I've got the artwork, for this place. And it comes out really nice. And you can see in this case here, I haven't done this before. I used the daily theme that it had, which had nothing to do with the location. I didn't know how it would do this, but the way that it did it was, I think, great. These were the words that it came up to use. So it actually used the idea of the daily theme, came up with these 10 words, and then I said just do three. I really should have said to do 10, but I was kind of in a hurry because I was doing this on the fly for this video. But with more time, I would actually have it do all 10 of these and come up with a nice series of 10 and see what it came up with. Because I think if I used 10, I could get it to use the the photographs and the design ones and the art ones and get a nice collection of prompts. Well, that's what I wanted to show today, was this kind of idea that you could use of extrapolation, that once you get a collection of prompts, and that's something that I like a lot, is to get a collection of prompts. Once you get a collection of prompts around a theme that you like, you can just take that collection, give it to ChatGPT and say, okay, adapt it to this new idea that I have. And it's very good at doing that sort of thing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks a lot for watching.